former Labour MP for Hove. He was serving his constituents from 1997 to 2005. Also served as Veterans Minister. He's a former chair of the Jewish Labour, and he's a patron of LGBT plus Labour. Ivor, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. You were in a government that did...
Good morning, Camilla.
Good morning. You were in a government under Tony Blair that did send troops to war. You must have been involved in those operational decisions. That must be difficult for a politician. You're sending lads and lasses out. You might not see them come back. What do you think about on Remembrance Weekend?
Remembrance Weekend is one of the most important weekends, in my view, in the whole year. And I think it's become bigger and better, I think, over the last few years, because people really do want to attend remembrance events, but at the same time, they want to be part of the past and the future. And I think that's created the Remembrance Day into such an important event, as it was yesterday as well on Armistice Day.
Reflect on recent events. I know you had this role in Jewish Labour. You are Jewish. Some of the scenes that we've witnessed, not just over the past 4 weeks, we saw again anti-Semitic tropes on the streets of London. What's your reaction to that, Mr. Caplin?
Yeah, I think it's disgusting, and I think the Met Police have done a fantastic job in the last 48 hours. I think the key thing for the Met Police is to try and find the people who've carried things that we've seen online in social areas. We've seen on your broadcast this morning, you know, with banners that are absolutely 100% anti-Semitic. And that is an offence, and it needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with soon, and as soon as possible.
Yes, I'll actually flag right now, Mr. Caplin, for our viewers and indeed our listeners, that the Metropolitan Police on their Twitter feed, on the website, have got images of people they would like to identify who are carrying some of these offensive banners. There's also a dialogue and a debate to be had about some of the representatives of the EDL disrupting things and making life very difficult for the police yesterday. But from a Jewish perspective, Mr. Caplin, this is very, very difficult because your community is under attack from the left. I've got left-wing friends who are hanging their head in shame at those on the left who aren't condemning people who seem to be glorifying what Hamas did on October the 7th.
Well, I think in particular that what we've seen is groups of people saying really rather strange things in relation to what actually happened on the 7th of October. And it seems absolutely wrong that anyone should think that in some ways you can be supporting Hamas. And we saw some of that yesterday in the parade in London, and we've seen it over the last few weeks. It's not acceptable behaviour by anyone. They are an organisation that has been long banned from the United Kingdom, and therefore we all have a duty, irrespective of politics. We all have a duty to understand that and to make sure that what we are saying to the wider world is this is where Britain is and this is what we will do, and we will not support in any way Hamas, and therefore we do support what Israel has been doing in order to try and stop Hamas ever doing this again. That's the key thing.
Do you worry about a resurgence of anti-Semitism on the left? I mean, we thought that those days were over with the evisceration of Jeremy Corbyn at the 2019 general election. Obviously, he's had to take a step back from the Labour Party. But do you worry about this? Because I know that Jews are feeling very unsettled. Some have even spoken of the idea that they would feel safer right now in Israel than in parts of North London.
Well, North London obviously has a huge Jewish community and has done for years, as we all know. I genuinely think, I mean, I live in Hove, and we have a sizable Jewish community who we will see this afternoon at the event there. But we want to make sure that the Jewish people can operate in the right way that they want to do as individuals. Now, the way that this has been carried out by, in particular, some people, is to really try to suggest that in some way, the Palestinian thing is part of this. Well, it is part of this, but the key to this is a two-state solution. This has been Labour policy since 1997, and it will remain Labour policy as it remains Conservative policy for the future. And the way that we have to get to that is to bring together the two parties, and that's the Palestinian Authority and Israel. I believe we can do that. I'm not sure we can do that while Netanyahu is Prime Minister of Israel, because he doesn't really believe in that. But for me, as someone who passionately wants to see a safe Israel and a safe Palestinian Authority, and that means no Hamas, but it means the two places working together for the longer term future, not just of the Israeli people, but also for the Palestinian Authority people.
What's your analysis of Sir Keir Starmer's handling of some of the rebels in his own party who are calling for ceasefires, seemingly not able to explain how they would actually work in progress, in actual practice, when you're dealing with Hamas, a terrorist group that will never put down its weapons?
Yeah, but there's no question you can't just put down your own weapons and let Hamas off the hook. That's what we would be doing if we did that. It's not acceptable. It's not something that the wider international community has any thought for at all. I think the way that it is being handled by the US in particular has been very good. I think the opportunity for humanitarian breaks in what Israel are trying to do in getting rid of Hamas, I think is a step forward, and I think we should support that. But just laying down Israel's a challenge to Hamas is not the way to do it. And I think what we have seen in the Labour Party, and we're perfectly comfortable with this, is we've seen people who actually didn't really want to be in the Labour Party that's changed so much since 2019. I think that's really the heart of this issue.
Final question, Mr. Caplin. Grant Shapps, the Defence Secretary, was on the show earlier today accusing the likes of Keir Starmer and indeed London Mayor Sadiq Khan of playing politics in their criticism of Suella Braverman's handling of this weekend. Do you agree with them?
I agree with Keir Starmer and the Mayor of London. I don't agree with Grant Shapps. I don't think this is about politics. This is about ministers behaving properly. And she has misled a lot of people in the Conservative Party. That's up to her and the Prime Minister to deal with. But from a Labour point of view, I think it's right and proper to say that the comments she made in the lead up to yesterday were inappropriate for a Home Secretary. I saw that Michael Heseltine has also joined in and said that he takes that view. And I tend to agree with that view, that you can't be the Home Secretary if you want to be a commentator or a pundit in terms of what is going on in politics. That's not how it behaves, and it shouldn't be part of what happens in such a crucial week of Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday, and allowing such a demonstration.
Although there are some in the Jewish community that welcome her description of the protests as hate marches. You know, some people are saying it's a pro-Palestinian march. Others are just saying it's an anti-Israeli, anti-Jew march.
Well, I've commented on some of that already with you, Camilla, but I understand why people say that. I would never use the phrase hate march. I have to say, but the Home Secretary did. That's not acceptable. And let's be honest, irrespective, surely the Prime Minister has to deal with this matter tomorrow morning, and that means sacking her if she won't leave.